Hello, welcome to More Fun Fixing It. This could be a very short video, but it could be, well, there's a lot of unknowns here because this is something that doesn't happen very often on this channel. And what it is somebody that watches, hello David, you're out there, contacted me on via email. You can find my email, my email is lee@morefunmakingit.co.uk. And it's a good way to contact me. I generally read all of my emails. Sometimes they don't get through the spam filters, but yeah, it's a good way to contact me. And David sent me this email. Hello Lee, I've been watching your channel for a while now. It's great to see computers that I grew up with being given a new lease of life. I was a Sinclair fan from the early days, a kit-built original ZX80, then upgraded to the 8K ROM, then a ZX81, followed by a ZX Spectrum 48K in 1982. Nice and early, nice. Finally, a 128K Toastrack. I still have the ZX80 and ZX81, along with some software cassettes, but I also have, I believe it was part of a swap back in the day, a full-size Saga 2 Plus keyboard, which appears to have an issue 6U 128K Spectrum inside, with the Toastrack fitted on the outside. There is also an Interface 1 screwed underneath. I've done a few searches for more info on the Saga 2 Plus keyboard. It seems to be a bit of a rare beast. I have no idea if this thing still works. It does have a Sinclair 9-volt power supply with it. What is my best course of action? I would like to see it working, but I do not want to damage it by just powering it up after so many years. I guess one of my TVs has a composite input I could use, but the Spectrum would need a video mod. Would you be interested in borrowing the unit to do a video on, test it and get it working, do the video mod for me? Best regards, David. So normally, I'd get quite a few of this kind of email. And normally I say, that's very kind of you to offer to share your beloved item with me. But in general, I don't do repairs on the channel for viewers. There are reasons for that, it gets complicated. There's, you know, who's responsible for certain things, and I have to be very clear from the outset that I'm not charging for these things. There's tax implications if I do that. So it's a bit of a minefield, and the honest truth is I've already got too much to do now without adding any more to it, and I just can't fix everybody's computers for them. But this one piqued my interest. Shall we have a look at what's inside the box? I've got to keep the box because I'm sending this one back. So, and it's very, very well packed. Whee. Oh, it's got a note. Mary Curie. What a good charity to patronise. Right, I'm just going to check this for, yeah, it does have doxing information on it. Right, let's get everything out and then I'll go through the email, through the letter. Right, for one thing, this box is super sturdy, really, really strong box, a properly sourced packaging box. And the best way to ensure your item is going to arrive in good condition is to box the box. So it's got another box inside, which is, oh, okay, all right, okay. This is interesting. I'm glad I've got this on camera because I want to see how it all goes back together. Now here's the interface 1. I'll slide that out. A spotless interface 1. And what you want to watch out for on interface 1s is a melt spot here. If it's got a hot spot in the plastic, then the ULA inside this will have broken down. This looks like a power supply. We've upgraded to duct tape for this. This is really, really good packaging. And that's the proper Toastrack power supply. So the machine before this was the Plus. And the Plus had this power supply, which is pretty much identical. It's got the same Sinclair logo across here as this has, the same lines going across, but they added these relief marks, this grill here, which serves absolutely no purpose apart from differentiates it from this one. It is slightly different in shape. It looks like it's actually, yeah, that matches that way round, with this bit being the same length of this and this bit being the same length as this, but the Sinclair logos are the opposite way around and the wires come out in different places. But yeah, that's the proper Toastrack power supply. On their own, these are quite valuable. And here is the main thing. In a plastic bag. Oh, just clunked it against my camera. Oh, wow. So this is why I was quite interested in this. Now, the Saga keyboard, I've had a Saga Emperor keyboard in the workshop before, and I have to be careful with this because they are very fragile. After all of these years, the plastics haven't really held up amazingly well. But what they do... Oh, it's a nice one as well. What it is a top, and you take the top off of your old computer, usually a 48K Spectrum or a Plus, and you bolt the bottom of that case to the top of this one. And this is a Toastrack, and yeah, the same thing applies. I didn't know this was a thing. Why are these screws sticking out here? Did say something about, oh, of course, yes, of course. That's the screws for the interface 1. Interface 1 goes on there, and then these screws hold it in place. I'm just going to pop those out for a sec though, because I don't want to mark my workbench up too much, although it is getting a bit tatty now. They're odd screws, and I would be a little bit concerned about screwing these in all the way in case it doesn't look like there's any motherboard on the other side of that. Oh, yeah, there should actually be holes in the motherboard in those positions. Big chunky power switch on the side here. This has been modified. Look at this. It's got a cutout here to accommodate the heatsink when it's part of the computer. This is the cutout, but it's been extended out and then bolted to the side here. I wonder if that's actually factory or an afterthought. A big earth tab on the back here as well. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. Look at that. Wonder why that's been put there. So the keyboard, it looks brilliant with this Toastrack on the side of it. The keyboard is really nice. There's a little bit of bounce in the center of the in the center of the whole of the keyboard. The whole thing kind of moves as you press the keys, but there's a really nice positive action. Quite a lot of force required to make each press though. Interestingly, no numbers across the top here. You've got dedicated keys that will give you load, save, run, graphics mode, ink, paper, verify, erase, cat for your floppy disk and micro drive accessing, semicolon and colon across the top here, and your numpad is over here on the right, which is a really good place. And E mode's down here as well. Symbol shift and cap shift, symbol shift and cap shift, caps lock. That's an unusual place for it. Edit, delete, and then your cursor keys. Oh, that's actually a really good place. Although the only thing I would say is that if you're playing a game, you want to be able to hit the space bar and maybe 0, but it's a bit too close. And E mode and symbol shift, none of those will work. But yeah, you probably just go straight back to QAOP. Yeah, this is a marvelous thing. So, David mentioned about composite modding this, but There isn't a composite mod for the 128K Toastrack. The reason being that there's already an RGB output here that includes the composite signal. So you can maybe modify a cable, a SCART cable, to only have an RCA jack on the end for your composite, and sound you would need as well, because this hasn't got a built-in speaker like the early Spectrums. But I would say that the best thing to do with this is just to buy a good quality RGB cable and plug it in via a conversion device of some sort. And when I talk about good quality cables, I can't recommend anything other than the Retro Computer Shack cables. That's a better sticker there because the other one's faded. Retro Computer Shack Sinclair Spectrum 128K N+2 RGB SCART lead. Oh, there's one other thing to explore before we do that. It's this that came with it. I don't really want to take this out, but it came with the set of stickers with the legends on. So you've got, for instance, the J key has got val and vowel string on it. So for the extra functions that are difficult to find in 48K mode. This is 128K Spectrum. This would have been sold mostly for 48K Spectrums without the extra markings on the keys. So this isn't a great example, but this is my ZX Mectrum from Lee Smith's workshop, and it's got, you know, go sub load list and everything on this, but it hasn't got all of the other bits on it as well. A regular Spectrum has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 functions on each key. Each key can do 5 things with a combination of the symbol shift and cap shift, and depending on the context of what you're typing in. So though all of that functionality would be missing if this was bought for a 48K, would be missing. This is where you would need to add these stickers to give you that functionality. I think it doesn't look right, because maybe this is just, oh no, this isn't a set of stickers at all. Okay. That sits there like that and gives you it gives you a legend to follow and how to access all of these things. Oh right, okay, that makes much more sense. Very nice. I'm going to put that straight back in its protective packaging. I think I should take this apart first, carefully, and make sure that there's nothing untoward inside before I give it any power. But I'm going to have to be super, super careful because these keyboards are quite fragile. Obviously, no screw in that position there. Though there is a hole, it doesn't line up. The hole there doesn't line up with this part. Yeah, this must be an added on switch. Pretty cool, that. That feels like it's bolted to the case. Okay, so I can remove the plug from there, but the keyboard is still attached. I don't know how this is going to come apart. That feels like there's a nut on the other side of that. I don't think. Well, this is going to be a real pain to get apart, isn't it? I think I'm going to have to take this part of the keyboard apart as well. Oh, the whole top comes off. That's nice. That just clips into these bits down here. Okay, right. Now I can get to these bolts. Can I get to the keyboard membranes? That one's out. This one's a PCB. Yep. There's still more attaching this. This earth here is attaching it, and this power switch is held on with a bit of cable tie type of thing. All right, let's take this bolt out. Okay, that's that. We've still got quite a lot more going on here. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and get my fingers into there. Maybe I should take the keyboard off. That one doesn't feel amazing. That might need a bit of strengthening. Oh, very neat little keyboard PCB there. That's going to need some testing. This is just hooked over there, so now that will come away. I'm going to need the voltage regulator though to test this. Let's have a look around inside here first. I don't think there'll be, well, the things that I was worried about, the only thing I was really worried about is this toroid here can come loose, and because this is an issue 6U keyboard, a motherboard, the top traces are uncovered. There's no solder mask on any of this, so all of this is liable to be shorted out if a big lump of metal comes loose, and these do come loose. There's some, like, you know, glue that holding it in place there, and down there, that does come loose, and that causes all sorts of chaos if that touches the traces. That's the big thing that I was worried about. There is actually something else that I'm now worried about, and it's this cap here has corroded. That one's leaked, and possibly this one as well. This is going to need a recap. So I definitely don't want to turn this on until I've sorted this out. I will show you what I'm talking about. There we go. Have a look at that. That is a definite case of the green and crusties. And the one over on the other side, this is over by the modulator can, is equally gone. Not quite as green, but it's definitely on the way. And you can see all of the detritus on the motherboard underneath, where it's just, yeah, that needs to be changed. Some hair in here as well. I wonder who that belongs to. Let's check some of these other ones. They seem okay. I mean, there's this black spotting on here. Could be the start of corrosion, but I'm not sure. What do you see in that one? Is this one? That looks okay. They look okay. Yeah, that's all right. The other end of that one hasn't leaked, but this end has leaked big styly. You see the same detritus on the board there. See that? So I wouldn't feel safe plugging that in anyway. So my first job here is to find out if I've got all the caps, and if I have, replace them, and then test from there. Yeah, I wouldn't feel safe switching this on in this condition. So that's my next move. Before I go, I've just realized something, that this earth tab here is connected to this switch, and the other side here, and the other side of this switch goes through this wire and connects to, I think that's the ground of the microphone. Oh, I wonder if this was to stop ground hum on the microphone for recording purposes. I don't know. Oh, it's not ground. That's the signal side. So that is to connect the microphone to the outside world. Why would you want to do that? Oh, I'd be quite interested to know why the signal side of the microphone needs a tab to the outside world, which is switchable. I think I'd much rather this was a switch to switch the whole thing on and off. There must have been a reason for it though. Yeah, I'm going to have to move these so that I can get to that cap and that cap. Anyway, right. That was a distraction. Back to the job at hand. Right, so I think the first thing I need to do is to extract this from the case and then start removing these caps and make a map to show me exactly where they all go. Once they're all removed, then check these two areas specifically for any damage from the cap juice. Now, we've got some stuff in the way, so we've got this wire that's connecting to this thing. I think I can just lever these off like that. That shouldn't be in the way anymore. This is going to be in the way because, well, could probably lift it that way, but I do want to just pop this out. I'm not sure it needs to go back in, but, well, it doesn't need to go back in, but I'm going to put it back in anyway. Because someone is probably going to say, oh yeah, that's that really cool mod for this really cool thing. And you should leave that there because it's historically important. So we'll do that. I've got my little bit of white tack here. Just a couple of screws left. So I know where all the screws are. These are the first two screws I took out that were holding the interface one in. These were holding the keyboard in. Those were holding the case together. And those were holding the bottom of the case together. And that's the nut and bolt. Just throwing them all into a pot like that would just mean me getting them muddled up. So I think it's a better way of doing it. Oh, reset switch needs to come off. Okay, that's free. That isn't actually attached to anything now, so I'll replace this with a proper cable tie as well. So that can go over there. Okay, now it should just come out. You can see where the case has been modified here and here. Oh yeah, that's where one of the feet originally were. Of course, you don't need it with an interface one across the bottom of the case. Okay. Right. Oh, I've got a good idea. Yes, this is genius. Right at the start of the video, I was concerned about these two screws here that went through the bottom of the case to attach the interface one. I am fairly sure that that hole there and that hole there are the ones that line up with the interface one. So not worried about that now. Now I've got my plan ready. Just have a quick look on the back of this, see if any work has been done to it in the past. Nothing springs out as having been changed or upgraded or repaired. But first of all, I need to mark down where all of these caps are. That one's a little bit out, but that's fine. So I did look up a list of the caps that are on this board, and it said that some of them were like this one, for instance, are 1 microfarad. Is that one? No, that was very difficult to see. It might be 22, but I've got all of the values, the capacitance values, but some of them are 10 volt and some of them are 50 volts. So, for instance, these ones are 1 microfarad, 50 volts. And on the list, it did say that some of them were 1 microfarad, 10 volts. I can't see any 10 volt 1 microfarads on here. I think that all of these 1 microfarad ones are 50 volt. But the voltage really doesn't matter as long as I get the capacitance right. That's all that really counts. So that one's 47. I'm going to write down the ones that I can see. This one is 1. And this one is 1. Yeah, this one, for instance, here, this is a 22 and this is a 22, but they're completely different caps. And this one looks like it's broken. So I think that is 22. So I'm going to put down 22 UF question mark. So we're just looking for this one and this one. I'm going to take those two out first. This one and this one. No, this one. Well, these two are so tightly jammed in, I can't really wiggle this one in the way I would normally do it. That ends out. There we go. Once I can wiggle, it comes out. So it's a 47 microfarad from this one. Well, that is really weird. So this one's also a 47 microfarad and a completely different brand and colour of cap. I don't know whether, I don't think these have been changed at any point in the past, but this is a 47 microfarad 16 volt, I think. Yeah, 16 volt, and that one's a 25 volt. The ones I'm putting back are 47 microfarad 25 volt. And they will all be these TAM branded blue ones. Oh, these are Vichys. Well, the rest will be TAM. And the last mystery one is a 22 microfarad 25 volt. Okay. Now I've got a complete map. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's not very good on the camera, but I've got a complete map. I can take all of the caps out and put them all back. And then we can turn it on and see if it works. If it works, then we can see if that keyboard works. Just going to measure these out of curiosity. So this is a 47 and that's, yeah, that's fine. 39 at 1.1 ohms. This one is a 22 microfarad, 22 microfarad at 1.8. There's nothing wrong with either of those. They're actually perfectly good. Right, so I've marked all the positions of where the caps are on the back with a Sharpie, and which is easy to remove. I can just take that off with some isopropyl alcohol afterwards, but it just helps me to see where all of the points are that I need to desolder. And I'm just going to put some fresh solder on, and they're all bent over inwards. So I'm going to no, that one isn't, and that one isn't, that one isn't, and that one isn't, but I'm going to put some fresh solder on each one because the old solder won't flow quite as well. Well, that one is in a huge lump of solder in there. That whole section there is like a ground plane created from solder. Good. I need to be aware of the ones that were corroded as well, because they're going to probably give me a little bit of trouble. As corroded solder doesn't like to flow. Right, they're all stood on their end and they've all got fresh solder. This my desolder station needs a clean out. Look at that. So easy to clean this one. It's amazing. I'm really impressed. Leave that one for a second because that's not going to be easy to move. This one's also going to give me some problems. Plenty of time to heat up. Maybe. Here we go. This one's just in a huge grey blob of solder. I can use the other soldering iron to give it some help if it needs it, but I just think that this soldering iron this desoldering gun is going to work. Yeah, that's just brilliant. So good. Right, so that was one of the ones that was a problem that had leaked. And this one down here is the other one, which I haven't desoldered. Completely forgot that one. This is brilliant. It's not perfect, but it's really good. Oh, I missed another one. Right. Just a wiggle is usually enough to break the remaining bit of solder that's holding each one, because most of the solder is now gone. And when I can get one end out like that, I can then give the other end a little bit of a twist, and even if that is quite firmly held, that can come out without damaging anything. This one is the one that I first spotted that was leaking, and I thought might be a problem, but that looks like it's just coming out. I really want to see what the meter says on this one. 19, 27, 60 something nanofarads, 130 nanofarads, 150 nanofarads. It's got 5k of resistance. Oh, right there, if I measure on the ends of the leads, I must have been making bad contact, but it's still 85 microfarad on which is, and this is 100 microfarad cap, so that's the capacitance isn't terrible, although it's now just dropped off completely. Oh no, 85 microfarads, but 397 mega ohms resistance. It's a very bad cap. Let's check these ones while we're here. 4, that's good. And that's 4.7, that's actually okay. 7 ohms, 9 ohms resistance, that's probably dead actually. Well, not dead, but it's probably out of spec now. This one is 15, this is 15 ohms, and this is 22 microfarad cap. Sorry, it says 15 microfarad and 10 ohms, 16 microfarad. This is a 22, it's 23 and 1 ohm, so that's good. These are the same as the ones in the 48K ZX Spectrum. This is another, I think this is another 22, yeah, another 22. And that's 23.5 and 1 ohm, 1.5 ohms. Perfect. This one is 47. And that one is 23 and 5 ohms. So that one's gone. These two okay. I think that one was okay. And those three are bad so far. Let's get some more out. Oh, the reset cap. So I'm quite interested to see what this one is doing. This is a 1 ohm 50 volt. Sorry, 1 microfarad 50 volt. Oh God. So 1 microfarad and it's 5.8 ohms. So that's probably fine. 47 microfarad 16 volt. 40 and quite a lot of resistance. Yeah, 936 mega ohms. That's in the bad pile. This is a 100 microfarad. And that's, it's 88 microfarad, but again, 680 ohms. And someone's going to probably tell me off that this isn't a correct test. But I know that you, ideally, you don't want that much resistance on a new cap. So let's take, for instance, these, what are these, 47s or 4.7s? These are 47 microfarads, and these are Vichys, and that's reading 37 microfarads and 1.8 ohms. And what's this one? This is a 1 microfarad 50 volt, and that's reading 1 microfarad 14 ohms. Put that in the middle. That would probably be okay. Another 1 microfarad. Bet this is similar. 1.1, 18 ohms. Oh, I'm going the bad. I don't know why. Right, this is another of the leaking ones. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going to use my super fine toothbrush thing to clean up the other side of this, mostly to get rid of the Sharpie marks, but also any electrolyte that might have flowed through. I'm going to do the same down here. These ones, actually, I'm going to just clean all of them. Sure, there was one there. I can't remember where they all were. One up there. And have a quick look with the microscope to make sure that I haven't missed any damage on this top side in that position and that position. Okay, that's where, well, there is a little bit of green there. Not sure what that is. I don't think it was corrosion. I think it was just green fluff. Still some hair there. Right, so that's okay. Let's try down this area here. Yeah, that all looks good to me. I can't see any obvious breaks. Very good. All right, so the next thing to do is start putting these back in. I'll start with these Vichy 47s, referring to my map. And there is only 2 47s, and that's these two here. So let's get those in. One thing I didn't do was note the polarity of each cap. They are marked on the silkscreen. I'm pretty sure the silkscreen is accurate on these, but I'm going to check that just in case. Okay, so one thing I like to do with when I recap any computer is to make sure that I leave the value showing on top when I bend the legs down. Just makes it easier if you have some doubts about what value cap that you've put in there. It just makes it easier in the future to check you put it on the bottom, then you've got no hope. There we go, the first two are done. Let's put the hundreds in next. So we've got one down here and two over here. Oh, these are TAM branded. Is it T-TAM? Yeah, T-TAM branded capacitors. And this is what I use to recap ZX Spectrums. And they're pretty good. I can't really fault them. They do exactly what I want them to do. But it's difficult to know whether they're going to be as long-lived as, who knows. But as far as I know, these are a good brand. I've not come across any bad ones. They're also the only ones that you can readily get that are blue in axial caps. Certainly better than leaving the old ones in there. This is one of those bits where there's a heavy ground plane lump of solder there, and this Sugon A9 just munches through these heavy ground. There's another one there. I'm just going to do this one first. This is something like a pine seal would really struggle with this. I don't even need to increase the heat on it. It's so good. Right, that's the hundreds done. Let's do the 22s next. That's 22s, 4.7s. Oh, I missed a 47 up here. Oh, we'll do that first. Right, 4.7 down here. 3 1 microfarads. Thank you very much. I think that's complete. Let's get it back in its case, reattach the voltage regulator, and then test it. Only putting it back in here just to check it, just to make sure that it's not going to short out on anything on my workbench. Let's just check across. $400 is good, no problem there. I'm fairly happy to turn this on now. Yeah. Not going to connect video to it just yet. Just put the Steam Card Pro in there so I can check that it is functioning first and that the voltages are okay. Just briefly. I'm going to limit it to 800 milliamps. It won't be enough for this, probably, yeah. And the 12 volt is missing actually, which means TR4 might be blown. It's not so bad on this one. If this was a 48K ZX Spectrum and the 12 volt rail was missing, then you would be putting the lower RAM at risk. But this one, it doesn't matter. The only places that 12 volt is needed is over in the video generation. I think this TEA 2000 chip, and I think in the serial part, and obviously in the on the edge connector. But let's increase the current draw. Let's try 900 milliamps. That's still current limiting. Okay, let's go higher. 1.2 amps. Okay, it's drawing 900 milliamps, 907 milliamps, and it's running, and the 12 volt is there now. Excellent. That looks like it's working to me. Let's connect up a lead to capture the video. And it was at that point that I turned off my recording so that I could connect up capture, and forgot to turn it back on. So the long and short of it is I've now put this back together, and I don't want to take it apart again because it is reasonably fragile, and it's not something I want to put through the stress of unscrewing and screwing back in again. Some of the screw posts, especially actually on the keyboard section of it, were not very conducive to being screwed in multiple times. It has gone back together really nicely, and I don't think there's going to be any problem with it as it is, and it's all fully working, which I can show you. That was the whole reason that I turned the things off, so that I could turn capture on. Let's do that. Oh, and when I put it back together, I have reinstalled the original wires onto this switch, whatever that does, and this wire that goes to this metal lug here, whatever that does. But let's see it. Let's plug it all back in and show you it working. Here we go. Perfect. Well, it's not perfect. There are jail bars there, but a machine of this age, you'd expect an imperfect picture, but it's a pretty good picture. And I've actually tried it on this screen over here, and it looks pretty good on that screen. So I'm not going to mess around with it any further. And it did confuse me for a little while, because on this screen that you're seeing now, you would want to press the cursor keys to go up and down. And on a ZX Spectrum 128K plus 2, the cursor keys would just work as they are now. So you wouldn't have to do any modifiers. And I thought, oh, the keyboard's not working. And then went through loads of troubleshooting to see if I could get the keyboard working. And it turns out that no, you just have to, the same as on a 48K, you have to hold down cap shift and then the cursor keys on here to go up and down in that menu. Although that's not, you do that if you've got Harlequin in one of those cases. It's a bit odd, but it does still work. So I can get into 128K mode, and the keyboard, although the Spectrum doesn't keep up with you typing, the keyboard fully works. If I press run, it just presses R. So these ones over here are basically just a shortcut key to whichever key the original Spectrum was. So for instance, load is just J. So if I press that, it will just come up with J. And run is R, so it presses R. But these ones I haven't been able to work out. Oh, that is doing something on that one. It's got an E underneath it, and I can't work out why these don't work. That's in 128K mode, because it's different in 48K mode. If I turn it off and on again, and we go into 48K mode, now those keys will do what you expect. Delete does what you expect as well. So it is using a modifier, because again, on the original Spectrum, you have to press cap, shift and 0. So that's what this is doing. This is pressing cap, shift and 0 to hit delete. But cat doesn't do anything. Ink, paper, none of those ones do anything. Semicolon doesn't do anything. Oh, something happened there. But yeah, that top row, nothing. Oh, I keep pressing edit instead of delete. All of the numpad keys work, as you'd expect. Oh, E mode. There's an E mode button here. Right, so let's delete all that. It won't let me do key repeat. So E mode, cat, no, still doesn't do anything. No, I don't know what they do. Weird. Anyway, Keyboard works. As far as I can tell, it works. I'm not sure if that's a fault of the keyboard or whether it's just something I'm not doing right, or more likely that this keyboard is not actually compatible fully with the Toastrack motherboard or the 128K ROM. It just expects different things. So at that point, whilst I was originally recording this, I also played some games. We should do that, actually. Right. Yeah, the detonator works perfectly through here. Sorry about the horrible noise. Now, the keyboard is not the best for playing games. The rub, so that is not. It stops activating for some reason. Oh, it doesn't like. Oh, that's pause. It won't let me jump, and let's try space. Yeah, that space works. It's just stop there. I'm holding the key. I press it harder. Yeah, that's. So the keys do work, but they're not perfect. But it's not something I'm going to mess around with because this keyboard membrane is unobtainium. My main remit on this was to make sure that the computer was working as it should. So right, that's the detonator working through this. I've also screwed in the interface 1 under here, which works fine. Now I did refelt again and try to get it working. I can get it to do a catalogue of the micro drive to tell me I think it's Tornado Low Level and Zaxxon are on this micro drive, but it just didn't work. It wouldn't load the game. It just spun and spun and spun. But fortunately, I have a Pico micro drive, a ZX Pico mic. I can't remember what it's called. So I plug this in. The cable's not quite long enough. You see the Pico micro drive thing has come to life there. And I've only been able to, I can't remember how to use this exactly, but if I tell it to convert and load a snapshot to drive 1, yes, that's converting. And then if I go into 128K mode and then type run, it loads instantly. Yep, that works fine. So the interface 1 is working. Okay, so that's done. The only thing I've got left to do is the power supply. The cable looks in good condition, but it's missing a plug. So I'm going to have to find a new plug for this. Right, we'll plug this in with an RCD protection. And just to give me one extra little layer of protection. Oh, perfect. Oh, it's sent a negative, isn't it? Oh. There we go, perfect voltage, 12.2 volts. Very happy to power this off of that. I will just check it, make sure it does work off of this. Should come straight on. Oh, it did not come straight on. Oh, it's not. It's a bit of a dodgy plug. Oh, that's a shame. It does work, just yeah. Turn that off for a sec. There we go. Oh no, it's still. There we go. Now it's not, it's rock solid now. Okay, so the power supply, I'm happy with the power supply. It's even driving the interface 1 as well. And this is now a fully working machine that I feel I am happy putting my name to, because it's in good condition and I've recapped it. I think it's going to serve David well for years to come, or wherever it ends up. He might sell it, who knows. So yeah, tell me if you think that you've seen or you know of another setup just like this one with a Saga 2 Plus keyboard and a Toastrack on the bottom. Don't forget that the Toastrack came with a mechanical keyboard. It wasn't a rubber key thing. It was, you know, a proper keyboard. Have you ever seen anything like this? It's amazing. I mean, it needed some work to get the thing to fit and to attach the heatsink to the outside. I don't think that that was standard. I think that that's someone's ingenuity that has done that. Very clever. But yeah, have you ever seen the like? Marvellous. Thank you, David. I really appreciated a look at that. And if you like this one, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, that sort of thing. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.